In the 1860s, 75% of the workforce in Lancashire was engaged in industry in one form or another. In the rural areas, agricultural wages were comparatively high and child labour was limited. But in East Anglia, where agriculture was the mainstay, things were very different. The organisation and use of labouring gangs was causing concern.
What is commonly understood by all as coming within the meaning of the term gang system is where a person engages a number of persons, chiefly children and females, for the purpose of employing them in field work on the land of any farmer who may require his services, not being himself in the permanent employ of any master, but following on the business of overlooking such workers as an independent profession, and thus being known by the name of gangmaster or ganger.
Sarah Ann Roberts. You come from Norfolk, do you not?
Yes, sir.
When did you first start work?
I was 11 when I went out with the gang.
What was your work like?
Well, the work is so wet. We've been dripping through, especially in the wheat.
What do you mean, wet?
I've been so wet that I've taken off my clothes and wrung them out and hung them up to dry. On top of the wheat. We've had to take off our shoes and pour the water out. And then the man would say, "Now then, go in again." Often when it came on to rain, there were no shelter. And if there were any, sometimes he wouldn't let us go under it, and we got soaked.
What harm did that do to you?
I blame him for making my bones sore. I have great pain. My knee is so bad. And nearly as big as a loaf. I can only go with this crutch or a stick now.
And madam, what is your name?
Elizabeth Dixon, sir. My husband left me a widow with 11 children living out of 15.
I see. And you also work in these gangs?
Yep, sir. And my children, we have to. Some of the work's very hard, as pulling turnips and mangolds, much shaking. And when turnips are being put into the ground as fast as the plough goes along, work which women and girls have to do.
Surely, this work is not too difficult.
Drawing mangoes is the hardest, bit to pull your insides out. I have pulled till my hands have been swelled that you can't see the knuckles on them. I come home so exhausted I sat down and cried.
Are your children also so exhausted?
Indeed, sir. I've often been obliged to take my flannel petticoat off and roll it round the girl's legs and iron it with the warming pan to take off the pain and misery of the bones and let them get to sleep.
What happens when you work away from home?
Well, sir, when the gang goes far, it tires the children much and takes the shoes off the feet quicker. Some of mine are going 6 to 7 miles off and are gone from me at 6:30 regular for a good while and not being home till 7 or 8 at night, even later. Little uns at 6pence a day are gone too. Sometimes the poor children are very ill used by the gang master. One has used them horribly. Kicking them, hitting them with 4 candles, even knocking them down.
You have actually seen that happen?
I've seen my own children up to batten this way. It was not from drink. He was quite sober, but only because he was a masterless man. Jemima, my daughter, was not more than 2 months over 6 years old when she went out. She said, "Mother, I want some boots to go to school." So I sent her out and saved up what she earned till it was enough to get them. She was a corpse from going in the fields. When she came home from work one day, When about 10 years old, with dizziness, and her bones aching, and died. I was buried. And all a little better than a fortnight. The doctor said it was a violent cold, struck her bones. If you've nothing except what comes out of your fingers' ends, it's no use. You must let them go. They need more to eat.
Country life in the 19th century did have its lighter side, but the gang system was said to encourage misbehavior among the young people. They were away from home for long periods of time. Mixed gangs of boys and girls could romp around in the hay together. In one example from Downham in Norfolk, the curate related how at harvest time one gang of children left their homes on the Monday morning only to return on the following Saturday night. They slept together in a barn provided by the farmer. The medical officer to Spalding Union Infirmary, Dr. Morris, gave evidence to the Children's Employment Commission.
I am convinced that the gang system is the cause of much immorality. The evil in the system is the mixture of the sexes, in this case of boys and girls of 12 to 18 years of age, under no proper control. The ganger's custom is to pay the children once a week at some beer house. It is no uncommon thing for those children to be waiting at the place until 11 or 12 o'clock at night. At the infirmary, many girls of 14 and even 13 years of age have been brought in and confined there. The girls have acknowledged that their ruin has taken place in this gang work.
The case of an assault on a female child was heard at the Downham Market Sessions, August the 6th, 1866, and presented to the Commission as evidence.
Here. Look at the gentleman. Speak in a very clear voice.
The last Monday week, the gang master pulled me down and pulled me clothes up to my waist. I think there were a dozen in the gang. We were sitting round to our dinner. The others in the gang were around me. I called out, but they laughed. He'd hurt my hand when I tried to get up. He was on me, and I couldn't get up. I was on my back on the ground. I don't know how long I was there. He threatened to flog me if I told any tales.
Come here. Well done.
The gangmaster was sentenced to 2 months' hard labor. For a young girl to say that she had been employed in the fields, in gangs or otherwise, was generally sufficient to cause anyone above the class of the smaller farmer or tradesman to ostracize her. In their search for improvements in the condition of children's lives,